Welcome back to the Rise with Anita podcast episode. On today's episode of the podcast, I'm welcoming someone who truly embodies what it looks like to build a business with both strategy and soul, Brittany Hall. Brittany isn't just the co-founder and CEO of the revenue agency, she's also one half of a husband and wife team that has built something really special. Together with her husband, Ryan, Brittany has proven that you can scale a business and grow your impact without sacrificing what matters most, your family, your freedom, and your fulfillment. What I love about Brittany is how she blends her sharp business instincts with so much heart. She's a creative visionary, a marketing strategist, and a leader who has spent years helping brands clarify their message, elevate their presence, and truly connect with people they're meant to serve. But beyond the titles and the strategies, she's a woman who deeply values integrity, alignment, and building a life that actually feels good from the inside out. Whether she's coaching clients, co-hosting the Revenue Agency podcast with Ryan, or raising her family while running a company, she's proof that success doesn't have to come at the cost of your soul. So today's conversation is more than just business strategy. It's about vision, values, and what it means to rise into the version of yourself who can hold both ambition and alignment. I cannot wait for you to meet the radiant, grounded, and brilliant Brittany Hall.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Wow. I was like, wow, who's she talking about? And then I'm like, I have actually accomplished a lot. I'm like, that, I did that. Yeah, I'm like, that's cool. Can you send that to me?
I absolutely can.
Thank you for having me. That seriously, almost brought tears to my eyes. I was like, chill, girl, chill. But thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so glad to have you. I mean, I feel like with podcast introductions is a minute for me to just showcase how amazing you are to you, because I feel like we often forget who we are.
Yeah, and I think too, when you're building a business, which I do think, besides raising kids, is one of the hardest things you can do, and I've been doing them simultaneously. But I think that we're really hard on ourselves as entrepreneurs, and so it's really cool to hear somebody kind of read off these things about you, and you can go, yeah, that's what I was like, I did that, because, sometimes we need to remind ourselves of who we are and what we've accomplished,
Absolutely. So before we dive in, I always start off, and I think we had this fun little tidbit when you did a post a couple of weeks ago, and it was, why doesn't people start before we get into what we do? What brings you joy? What is bringing you joy this current season?
It's so funny because I'm not usually someone who leads about my kids. I'm obsessed with them, but in conversation, I usually talk about my titles before I talk about my family. It's just part of kind of that personality, I guess. But my kids are bringing me a ton of joy right now. They're at really fun ages. They're almost 11. My son will be 11 on Sunday. And my daughter's 13. And they're super cool. Because when they're babies, they're cute and but they're a lot to take care of, and they're still a lot to take care of, and they get more expensive as they age. But they're just involved in some really fun stuff, and they're really smart and funny. And I'm just like, you guys are really cool. So my kids and my family, that place that we're at right now, it's a lot of fun.
Very cool. I love that your answer was about family. I feel like when I ask this, it's either some sort of travel answer, but a lot of times I get the family, and I think that's beautiful because it just shows you're integrating.
Yes. Yeah. My husband and I have worked really hard for a while to create a life that we are integrated with our kids. We can coach their sports, we can be at everything, we can volunteer at school, but we can also build a kick-ass company. So that was always our goal. And yesterday, I think it was at 1 o'clock, I was like, hey, my calendar's free. You want to go swimming? And I can hang out with my husband. I'm like, we are truly living a fully integrated life. So it's fun. Yeah.
I love that, because for me, I'm always just rather than being in that place of hustle, I'm learning to slow down and allow for the feminine to kick in, which
totally
we can totally go down that route as well. But before we do, I want you to go ahead and take us to the beginning. What shaped the woman and leader you are today?
Oh man, I'm where do I even start? What's funny is I feel like I went through, when I was young, say 13, 14, 15, like a young, like adolescent girl. It was very, very natural for me to be bold, to tell people what I thought, to be just blatantly honest. I probably didn't have a lot of tact, right? Because I was young. I hadn't learned that. But then in this latest season, I think it's been this returning to who I truly authentically am, like the way that I'm designed, because I went through these seasons as I learned how to mentor people, build teams, build business, getting into sales, where the people who I worked for or who were leading me always wanted to kind of tell me who I should be. And so in building this business, I feel like it's been like a homecoming in a way of returning to who like I authentically am. So it's been this like crazy journey, probably over 20 years of learning new things, unlearning things, forgiving people, letting people go who aren't serving me. I mean, that's like when I'm like, take you to the beginning. I'm like, girl, I don't think we have long enough for that. Like it has been a journey. So, yeah, but I think that would be a good way to sum it up. Like in the like most recent times, there's had to be a lot of, like you said, like soul work and forgiveness and grace and letting stuff go. And yeah, it's been interesting.
I love that you brought that up, because for me, as I've been building this business, I find that, and I've realized a lot of people shy away from entrepreneurship because it brings up everything about you that you could potentially have to work on.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's like insecurity to the max, imposter syndrome. Why would somebody pay me? Do I really know what I'm doing? And then you see somebody pop up on Instagram with 1 million followers that's doing the same thing as you, and you're like, who am I? You know, it's, yeah, it's difficult. But then I think it's, like I said, you have to remember who you are and what you've accomplished. I worked for a guy one time, and he was like, confidence comes from all the times that you've won before, like in the past. It's like a memory of success. And I was like, that's brilliant. And we forget that when we feel like we get told no, or stuff's not building as fast as we want, or, you know, somebody lets us down. We feel it makes us insecure, and doubt and fear creeps in. But we have to bring that confidence back and go, no. I'm a winner, and here's the memory of all the times that I've won. And I think that it's that gets you through those seasons, you know, because building a business is freaking hard.
You know what? I love that you admit that, though.
Oh, yeah. Anybody else that says otherwise is lying. Like, most businesses fail within the first year. I mean, what's even the statistic on podcasts? People usually, they don't get past number 10. Yeah. Because people quit. They give up. And I really do think that's the only way that you fail, is by giving up. Because when you study people who have succeeded and created a lot of success, they've all experienced the same setbacks, but they just didn't give up. Mm-hmm. So 100%. I think it's really like a disservice for anybody in any space to be like, oh no, you just got to like wake up at 5 a.m. and you'll be successful. It's like, no, that's not it.
Actually, I love that you went there. So what does your ideal like morning routine look like as a mom, as a wife, and all the things that you carry?
Yeah. You know, it's looked different throughout the years. Right now, what it looks like is I get up at 5:45 in the morning. And I serve in the morning. I don't touch my phone. I don't get into work. I don't get into work until probably 9 or 10 a.m. I don't start paying attention to work. Like, it's my time and my family's time before that. Like, I got to get myself right, get my house in order. And so as a mom, it looks like waking up at 5:30 in the morning. My daughter is doing cross country, where she has to be to school at 6:45 in the morning for practice. I have 3 dogs that have to be walked every day, or else they are annoying as all get out. So like, it serves me later to walk them in the morning, and my husband's like right there with me. Like, we're total partners in life. So yeah, we get up, we walk our dogs, and we get the kids up and get them breakfast. We pack lunches together, then we get them off to school, and then we hit the gym. And we do yoga twice a week, and then we lift at least 3 days a week, do lifting and cardio. So we go to the gym together. He does his thing, I do my thing. And then we come home and we attack the day from a business perspective. But before that, it's family, getting our mind right and getting our body right.
I love that. I love that because it shows how you're actually literally integrating. You're not, I hate that myth of when people say it's a balance. It's not a balance. You just have to make the time and integrate it into your life. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and it's boundaries and it's non-negotiables, and it's most of the time it's boundaries with yourself of, I'm not going to check my email at 6 a.m. Like, I'm not doing that, because what that does a lot of times is when you're checking all that stuff before you've really started your day and like gotten your mind right, like I said, get your body right and done the things that have to be done, like if it's family or whatnot, you know, everybody has different responsibilities. But you almost invite in this like anxiety, like work anxiety, because it's like, I don't want to open up to any potential issues or things that I need to do for somebody until I'm ready. And so it's having those boundaries with yourself. And then what it does is it creates boundaries within your business where people just know, she gets back to me around this time every day. And it's possible. And I've been in the seasons, I've had to learn where I was available to everybody all the time. And I had a boss that would call me at 9:30 at night, and I would be like, I would answer and I would talk to him for an hour, and I wouldn't put my kids to bed, and Ryan would put them to bed instead of me, because I was in a really unhealthy relationship with this job. So I think that when we started our company, I was like, I will never do that again. So I had to learn, because I did it the wrong way first.
Beautiful. I think that there's something I haven't been that bad, but I've watched my mom be that bad, where she would have like her first hour of the morning be phone call, making coffee, trying to get out the door. And I'd be like, the entire drive from home to school is literally you on the phone with your boss. Can't you talk to him later?
Yeah. And as a kid, like, you're like, hello. And it's not like it messed you up or whatever, right? You know, but it's just, it was probably an awareness that you had of like, you didn't love how that felt because your mom wasn't present with you in the car. And probably for her, she's trying to like get it done while she's in the car and multitask. And I think that as women, we've been told that we can, that's what we should be doing, right? Like, oh yeah, you can have your kids and a high-powered career. It's like, it just creates a lot of sacrifice, and it also creates like a very big like reactivity. And I think energetically, that's not like a great, I don't want to live in that place. Like I've been there, but it's like this reactive energy. And then what happens is you wake up and you start your day in reaction. It's very hard to get into creativity if you started out that way.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So as a wife, a mom, and a CEO, how do you personally define success beyond numbers these days?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because a lot of people, you know, they want to make millions or whatever that dollar figure is. And I want to make enough money where I have ease in my life and I can say yes to my kids and yes to experiences and travel with them. And, you know, that's really what success looks like for me. I don't want to become a slave to my business because it's making a ton of money where I'm now like all me and my husband talk about is business, right? Like I don't want to get into that. So I think that if it really comes down to a schedule for me, like if I can have my mornings with my kids and I can be the one that takes them to school and that I can be here when they get home, but then that chunk in the middle of the day, that's where I can serve my clients at a high level and get stuff done and hit it hard and be great for those people for like those 4 or 5 hours a day, because that's really like how I want to work. If I can do that and make enough money to be able to also have the lifestyle that I want, like that's success. And I actually believe it's possible. I think that we've been sold probably by some coach in the industry or multiple coaches, you know, these like alpha male types that are going to like yell at their audiences. Which I can buy into that because I can have a lot of masculine energy. I think that's not, especially as a woman, and especially if you have kids and you're in that phase of your life, I don't think it's healthy. And I don't think that you should ever sacrifice the time with your kids to make money. I think that you can actually do it in a way where you can have that freedom and ease and relationships with the people in your life that matter most and make a lot of money. I really truly believe that you can design your life the way you want it to. So for me, that's what that looks like. Work about 5 hours a day, kick ass, be great, be a good mom, and connect with my husband, so that when these kids are out of the house, I'm not like, who the hell are you? Like that's the goal, right? Is to like be in love and like have them be your best friend. Like that's my goal anyways.
No, absolutely. I think one thing I've noticed is a lot of people tend, especially after they have children, not that I have kids, so take this with a grain of salt, but what I've observed is a lot of people won't put focus onto their relationship, and then by the time that their kids are out of the house or moving into their own adulthoods, they're at this point where it's kind of like bedmates rather than an actual relationship.
Totally. Yeah. And that's, Ryan and I have always been, we started out dating. We didn't start out as friends. We started out as like a romantic relationship, but he really is my very best friend. And that's the thing too, is like when you're building a business with somebody, or even if someone is an entrepreneur and you're married and you're not in business with your spouse or partner or whatever, it's important that that person supports you, because there are times when you're like, am I going crazy? Or like, too, as a woman, like Ryan and I were having this conversation the other day, and this is probably going so left field, but it's like, as a woman, we have these hormone cycles, right? And it affects our energy and our productivity and our creativity. And there was like, last week I was just like, oh my God, I'm just so like, I'm tired. I'm not inspired. I don't feel like doing anything. And men, they operate on a 24-hour clock. So he's like, but we need to find clients and we need to be doing this. And I'm like, I'm just not like feeling it. And then like things switched this week and I'm like, I'm back, and it's like, he has to be able to like handle that, right? So what that takes is a lot of communication. Yeah. A lot of communication. And I am a big communicator, and he's had to learn. And I have to accept the way that he processes, and he's a little slower to things than I am. But yeah, that's another thing. It's a lot of work, but it's fun work, when you're with the right person. It's
beautiful.
Like, yeah. It's interesting though. I told him the other day, I go, I wouldn't want to do it again. Like, I would do it with him again if I was young. But I was like, if something ever happened to this, I was like, I don't think I'd do it again.
You're like, I'm done after this.
I was like, I think that's it for me.
It's either you or bust.
Yeah, I was like, I think that would be it. So we even have those kind of conversations with each other. It's like, and you just got to put in effort with your person.
See, so actually you pivoted me right into where I wanted to take you, which was...
Oh, look at that.
How do you keep your marriage thriving while running a company?
How do you want me to go there?
Yes.
Intimacy. That is... It's so funny. I think that so many people are missing that in their marriage. And me and my husband have been together 17 years. So not a short amount of time, but not we haven't been together 50 years yet, But... that's it. I think like communication is important, but I think that intimacy factor, like it's funny. I don't mind talking about this stuff, and Ryan's much more private, but I'm like, oh man, if I posted about this, like the real deal on social media, like people would probably be gangbusters for it. But you got to have fun together, and you have to laugh. I think that people take things too seriously sometimes. I think women have a way of becoming naggy to their partner because they're not feeling supported. I think that's where that comes from. And I think that men, they think, well, I'm doing this and I'm working, but then they're not supporting their wives or making an effort to like connect with her and make it feel seen. And then, women are like, well, I don't want to have sex with him. And then the men are like, well, she won't ever have sex with me. And then it like breaks down from there. I really think that's the downfall of a lot of marriages. So we make sure that we're connecting with each other like often. And then everybody's happy.
Absolutely.
That beautiful. Sounds like really simple, but men are very simple creatures. And I think they have to be coached lovingly by women. I really do. I think that it's, years of like, hey, like, I mean, you don't know how many times I've talked to my husband in our earlier years where I'm like, I need you to connect with me here before I go there. But men are like instantly ready to go there, but it's like, we need a little bit more than that, you know?
Yeah.
And the thing too, which I'll add, which I mean, I could talk about this all day long, but we don't have to. I remember reading that like creative energy is actually the same as like sexual energy. And so if you're working all the time and you're getting all that energy out just in business and you don't have any in reserve, that part of your life can definitely suffer. And so it's important, I think, that as you're, to bring it back to a business place, is as you're building a business, it's important to keep some of that reserved for your person, that you're not just like putting it all out on the table just for work. Like save a little something for the people at home.
I love that you went there. And yes, that was exactly the type of answer I wanted, because
Good. Yeah, I talk about all the time.
I don't filter on the podcast when I'm asking questions, because I rather have your honest expression of what makes things work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially as a single person who's like, how do I do this? Like, I desire to have it all.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you have to learn from people who are actually making it work.
Yes. And you know what I would tell women? Because it's so funny. I have a friend that she was like, she has this beautiful home with this beautiful, like, all glass shower. And she's like, oh, but I'll never, like, be in there in front of my husband. And I'm like, what? You've had, like, multiple children together. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't get naked in front of him? You know? And she's like, no. She's like, I've gained weight and blah, blah, blah. Any woman listening to this, men don't care. They don't care. They're still, like, 13-year-old boys. They're like, boobs. Like, she's naked. Like, they're not going, oh my God, she has cellulite. Like, my body has been through weight gain, weight loss, having 2 kids. Like, seriously. My husband has loved me at all phases. But if I all of a sudden was like, no, you can't see me naked, I won't take my shirt off in front of you. Like, wah. Like, be fun. And, like, it's okay. Like, he's going to love you. Like, men are very simple creatures. They're like a light switch. Like, for real. They're very, very simple, and women are so complicated that we take our vantage point and we put it on them, and it's like, no. Like, they do not operate like we do. Like, the quicker you can understand that, marriage becomes pretty dang simple. It's very simple.
Well, thank you. I should be taking notes. I'm like,
yeah.
Replay, watch, and like literally take notes, because this is, it's actually funny because I've started to notice that guys are so simple. Like, I'll be like, well, what did you mean? Just that. I literally meant that. And I'm like,
yes.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting here thinking XY equals MX plus B. Like, no, it's literally what I said is what I meant, and we're done.
Yeah, no, they're like animals. And I mean, I think, and I love men. I'm not saying men are stupid at all. But like, if my husband was sitting next to me, he'd be like, no, men are very simple. They are very simple. It doesn't mean they can't evolve and grow with you and change and open up to different perspectives. They have to be willing, though. Like, my husband has learned so much just being married to me, but he's always willing, because he wants to understand me and he wants us to have a great relationship. So he also works hard, and he holds a lot of space for me when I get nutty and intense and mad and then I'm crying. Like, he's like, I got you. Like, he's so strong for me. Even though I'm strong, he's really strong when I need to just like go to pieces. And then I pick myself up 30 seconds later. I'm like, all right, here we go. But that's, I think, truly having a partner.
That is beautiful.
Thanks. Yeah, I know. We should be speaking on stage about a marriage. No.
You really should.
I love this topic. I love relationships. I think that people make it too hard. And I think they don't talk. I think that's the biggest thing, is people don't talk about stuff.
Beautiful. So you hold a lot of hats. We've already touched on this. Yeah. How do you hold all your roles without losing yourself in the process?
Yeah. And, you know, that's a good question. And I'm like, I don't know if I have the right answer, but
there is no right answer.
Yeah. I'm like, how do I do it? Because I have always, I think probably one of my biggest like core values in people that I do life with and for myself, it's very, very important that I can be authentic with the people that I'm around. So even with my kids and stuff. It's not like I put this role on of mom and then my personality changes. Like, I keep it real with my kids because authenticity is like at the core who I am. That I don't ever want to pretend or alter myself. For some reason, that's just the way God made me, is I'm very like, everybody's here for a purpose and meant to be themselves. So I'm not someone who like cleans it up in front of my kids. My kids know I keep it real. They know that if they ask me a question, I'll tell them an honest answer. Like, I might not, like, I'll put it in like a way that I think that they'll, like, receive it. But same with my husband. He could ask me what I think of things and I will tell him authentically and honestly. And it's the same way that I show up for my clients. So even though I have a lot of different roles that I play, and, you know, there might be a certain filter depending on who the person is, I'm always Brittney first. Like, it's like, what do I value? Who am I? Why is this important to me? So even though the hats might switch, I guess the personality doesn't. So makes it a little, I don't know if that answers it, but I think that, I mean, at just my core being, like, that's who I am. So it just depends on like what role I'm filling at the moment.
You know what? I love that you went there, because so as an assignment I kind of gave myself a couple of weeks ago was like, I asked a few people, like, okay, when you think of me, what do you think of? And it was partly because I wanted to get clear on my brand, but it was also just me wanting to see what my essence felt like for people. And when I realized the answers were coming up almost identical, and these were people who have not met each other, they were from different circles. I was like, oh, I'm doing something right if I'm showing up in different areas of life authentically me. Because at the end of the day, either you're going to love me or you're going to hate me. But I'd rather it be because you like my true self than me conforming like a chameleon to be in your box.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's funny, I've been talking to my daughter about this, and she's very headstrong and very authentic. But, you know, it's hard being a teenager and being in middle school, because they think, well, but I want friends and I want to be in that group. But sometimes you have to change who you are and be somebody different to fit in with that group, you know? And so we've had a lot of conversations as she's grown up about, like, you know, though, if they don't, those people aren't for you. And I think that too, like raising kids, it's like teaching them those things, because sometimes we don't learn it till we're an adult, and it's hard. And I think sometimes we still have to learn it as an adult, you know, because making friends as an adult isn't easy. We're not forced to be in a classroom with somebody for hours to like have this ability to make friends, you know. It's like we meet up for coffee and see if we like each other.
Yeah, it takes more effort once you hit a certain age.
Yeah, but it's still awkward and weird, and we still have funny insecurities and things just like kids do. But yeah, I think that what's the point of life if you're not gonna be who you were created to be? Because I do think we have that internal knowing. And so that's such a cool exercise to do. And I've done that too years ago. And the common denominators were people were like, what you see is what you get, and you tell the truth. You know, like, you're authentic. And it's like, that's good, because that's really important to me. And it's important for the people that I interact with. You know, it's like, I don't want to be around a bunch of bullshit. You know, and then it's like, are you telling the truth, or are you trying to be who I think you should be? You know, and so that's always my thing with anybody. I'm like, just tell me the truth. Like, you don't need to sugarcoat it. Just, it'd be so much easier. Wouldn't everything be so much easier if people were just like, if you propose something to them, like, you know, coaching package or whatever. Like, we'll keep it, you know, in that business realm. And people were just like, yeah, I'm in. Or, no, I don't like that. Or, yes, but I can't afford it right now. Can we do it next week? Like, that would just take all the bullshit out of it. And, like, the follow-up messages and the this and the that. It's like, if people were just honest, or, like, I just think life would be so much easier. Because it would take out that game, you know?
Exactly. I think you just brought up something that I love, and I've been told sometimes that I'm a little too direct. And I'm just like, I'd rather be direct than bullshit with you.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's just across the board, regardless of whether it's a business or how I speak to people in my life. I'm just like, if I have a thought, you're not getting the sugar-coated version, I will be nice about it. Usually I'm not someone who will be outwardly like, I'm going to call you names, but like
Yeah.
if I have an opinion, you're getting the full opinion. There's no sugarcoating it. And I think that generally, like, you're right. I'm with you on the whole. I wish people would just say what they meant versus making me play a guessing game with you.
Yeah, or reading into it. I think just so much gets lost when people try to have like an angle or, and I know that's how the world works. Like I've had to negotiate a lot of stuff, it's like, but I mean, that's even like, the most like basic example would be like going to buy a car, and it's like, listen, like I don't want to sit here for 5 hours and do this. Like you just tell me where you're at. I'll be completely honest with you. And like, let's see if we can come to an agreement.
Right.
Wouldn't it be great if dating was that way? Like
I mean, I would not be single if I had that ease of being like, just like, okay, so are we doing this or not?
Right? Yeah, I know. But it's like this warm up process. And I think it's probably hard for people like us because, yeah, it's like, and especially like in business, because it's like, well, are you in or you're out? But like, there are certain types of people that have to like warm up to ideas and they got to think and they got to analyze and this and that. And I'm like, you're wasting my time. But it's just, that's the beauty and the suckiness, I guess, of like doing life with people because people are all very different and we just have to learn how to work with them.
Beautiful. So what rituals, practices, or mindset shifts did you have to keep yourself anchored when life and business both feel a bit too full?
Oh, yeah. So I have some practical and then I have some like mindset. So I have made it a practice not to like overcommit myself, like schedule wise, where I feel completely drained. I will have 1 or 2 busy days, like calendar wise, and I try to stack them at the beginning of my week. That helps with overwhelm. And then Fridays are my light day. I believe in fun Fridays. I will do things in the morning, but I will not do anything after that. Cause I'm like, by like 1 o'clock on a Friday, everybody's checked out. Like everybody's over it. Like we're wrapping up for the weekend. So I stack my schedule a certain way and everything goes on the calendar. And I do not look at the week ahead. I look at tomorrow. And then I mentally think, what do I have to do tomorrow? Got it. So I can like mentally prepare. I do not go past a day. So there's that. That's like on the practical side. And then there are times when things feel really overwhelming, like emotionally, energetically, and it seems like when stuff hits, it hits like
at
multiple
once.
things hit. Yeah. And it's like, what the hell? And so I am a person of faith. I do believe that when we're up to something big, the world, spirit, whatever you want to call it, tests us a little bit. And I always have to remind myself like, ooh, I must be onto something. Like that I'm going to have to push through. Like I must be on the edge of a breakthrough because if all of this is coming at me, all this resistance, all these obstacles, like I'm on the freaking edge of something. So I got to push through. And then just another, like it's really good to get into gratitude. And if you're like, I'm totally overwhelmed, you got to shift your energy. You got to like get up, get out of your office, go for a walk. Go for a drive, listen to music, dance, sing, like whatever, work out, like whatever you can do to like shift your energy. Or if you're like, my mind is so crazy, like I do think you should physically do something to kind of get in a different state, but listen to a meditation, do gratitude. Like you have to know that you have a go-to to like shift your energy when you're feeling like that. So that's really important.
Beautiful. And I love that you touched on like actually getting into momentum.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I feel like we can be very easily guilted into staying in our own little, I call it pity puddles.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, well, I don't want to feel good right now. But how long are you going to allow yourself to sit there and wallow on it? I'm not saying you shouldn't feel, but like sometimes we just gotta get up and do it.
Yeah, you shouldn't stay there for too long. I think that we should acknowledge our feelings. But I think that a lot of times people get into the mud because they let their emotions dictate their action. It's like, well, I don't feel like it, or I don't feel. But the thing is if you get in motion and you get into action, like I think sometimes you just gotta pull yourself out of like your own bullshit because it's like, we don't like, that's such a low vibrational thing. And then we get into blame and just feeling bad for ourselves and becoming the victim. And then what you can actually do, I think, is just shift into, instead of being the victim, become the creator, which if you haven't studied the drama triangle, you probably have, but it's like incredible, like drama versus empowerment. And then you go, okay, like you got to reset yourself and go, what is something I can do right now that's going to move the needle forward? And sometimes it's freaking taking a nap. Like, I mean, I'm not saying you got to get crazy and go do like a marathon or something, but sometimes it's, you know what? I've been sitting in my office for 3 hours or I've been on my phone all day, which bogs down your brain, right? It's like, I'm going to put on my headphones and I'm going to go for a freaking walk and I'm going to look at all the beauty that's all around me. And that right there can shift. And then you can get a really good idea and then you can go act on it, But I think people get in this cycle where they're like, well, it's not working, but I'm going to keep going. It's like, if it's not working, it's not working. Like, do something else.
Yeah. Pivot.
Yeah. Yep, pivot. There is power in the pivot. And I tell people, you can always change your mind. You don't like what you're doing, do something different. It's not really that crazy, Like, do something else. Shift.
All right. So when you think about the Brittany who first started leading teams years ago, what would you tell her now?
Oh, goodness. Go easy on yourself. I used to, and that not everything's about me. I think that one of the toughest things about working with people is conflict. And I can be naturally a bulldozer. And so, how we talked about people who are a little bit slower? I think that I could probably in the beginning days, I probably bulldozed over people. And I was always good about taking personal responsibility. But I think that if somebody didn't respond to me right away, or if they weren't doing what I thought they should be doing, I took it really, really personal. And I would remind that girl, like, hey, you're doing a great job, keep going, but not everything's about you. And also, not everything needs to be taken care of right now, meaning that, like, if somebody wasn't happy with me, I didn't have to try to solve it right then. Like, I could, take time. And that's, I think, one of the hardest parts for me is, of course, you want everybody to like you, which people might not get that right away from me because I'm pretty strong and, confident and, like, bold and all this stuff. But it's also, like, I struggle with that. I'm like, I don't want people to not like me. And I struggled with a lot of that in the beginning of leading teams. But if I would have maybe been a little bit more evolved in that way, it probably would have been a little easier. But that's what helped me evolve, right? It was like dealing with all those kind of situations. But
that's such a beautiful answer.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I'm like, I haven't thought about a lot of this stuff in a long time. It's like, ooh, like reflecting on it,
See, this is why I don't provide questions in advance.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is great.
So you talk a lot about building with integrity, and obviously relationships are huge for you, especially with what you do. Can you share a time when you had to choose your values over easy money and what that taught you?
God, which time? Oh, I've walked away from stuff that most people probably be like, why the hell did you do that? Yeah, I mean, probably the most recent thing, well, there was 2 in the last couple years where, I mean, I was making like 5-figure months, like not just $10,000, like $20,000+ a month, which was a great income, right? And it was at a time that our family really needed that income, and I was selling for a company, running a coaching company. And that was the one where, like, my boss would call me late and I would talk to him and I would always acquiesce to him. But he also gave me a lot of opportunities. So there was so much that I learned. Like, it was such a great experience, even though the leaving was, like, it was because I wasn't aligned anymore. And so, I was talking earlier about always authentically being me, right? And I think that what that means is that we honor ourselves when we go, this isn't in alignment with me. This isn't in alignment with who I am, what I want to do, my values. And this doesn't mean you just throw a fit and leave when things aren't going your way, because things aren't always going to go your way. But that one was he wanted to like change my compensation and all this. And I was just like, am I not valued here? Because how I, in a work relationship, how I see value is how I'm compensated, right? Like it's an exchange of work for money. Like that's how that works. You can't pay your bills with like compliments. So that was one that was tough to walk away from, because what we had built over the course of a year with that person was like really incredible and very successful and the best that company had ever been. And then I felt bad for leaving people behind on the team. Like I felt like this sense of responsibility, but then I had to work through that and go, that's not my stuff, that I'm not responsible for them. So that was challenging. And then I went to a company, I only stayed for 5 months because just the relationships and the main dude was cool, but he would also like freak out on people. And I was like, whoa, like not on me, because that would not have gone well. But just some really toxic relationships in the office, and like people throwing each other under the bus, and like people lying, and like there's just so many weird things that I was just like, this is not my vibe. And I had a wonderful salary at that place. It was really cool to get paid every 2 weeks, because when you're an entrepreneur, you're like, I hope that these people are going to stick around and continue paying me. But they could also not. But at a job, and you're on a salary, it's a different story. So, but that one, I was just like, this is not who I am. This is like, I'm not seen for my value. I don't have a lot of authority here. I don't think I can change things. And really, truly, like when I was going through that, because we didn't have a plan, I thought, man, if I could just shift the culture here, which is putting my values on somebody else. And that's not fair either. Because I'm like, they're running the company the way they want to run it. They're not running it the way I would run it. But really clearly in my head, I felt like God told me, go build the business with the culture that you want to be a part of. And that is how the revenue agency was born. So
I love that. I love that it literally led you to actually doing your own thing. And I mean, what you're building, just as someone who's witnessed some of the magic you guys create, it is incredible to see like the culture and the way that you guys interact with one another, and then also the way you're there for your clients. I wanted to shout you out for that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I mean, we've worked together on that level, and there's just certain standards that we hold, and communication is one of them. And we have a really cool team. We're like family, like friends, and I mean, a lot of families are dysfunctional, so, we're not like that. But we are like we have each other's backs. Like we have this sense of loyalty and honesty with each other. That's really important. And it was, in the beginning when we bought out our dear friend's business and she came under our umbrella to work with us, her work style and my work style, it was like, I think she wanted to make sure that like I was happy, but I wanted to make sure that she was happy, but when we're doing that, we're not being 100% honest. So I think finding that way to communicate and be like, hey, this is what I need from you, and I want to give you what you need from me, which that's the relationship piece, right? And so it doesn't just start like that, but you have to want to build that and do the work to build that. So it's been incredible. I love what we have here. I love what we've created. Like every day, me and my husband were like, wow, like we are walking in the dream that we once had, so it's fun. Doesn't mean it's always easy, but we're like, okay, like this is what we wanted. We need to be grateful for where we're at.
I love just the way you handle it. And also, if you think about it, we were talking a lot about relationships on this podcast.
Yeah, whatever we're doing here.
Right. It's kind of that aspect of like, you have to give not what you need, what the other person needs. And that's exactly, it doesn't matter if it's an intimate relationship or if it's a business relationship. You need to come up with the authentic version of what actually helps the person feel seen, heard, and taken care of.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's funny. It's kind of become this like theme, right, throughout our conversation today. But everything comes down to relationships. And when people aren't great at relationships, I think business is going to be hard, and you're going to burn bridges. You're going to have a lot of miscommunication. And even when things have gotten tense with clients, like maybe they had an expectation or whatever, I don't usually actually get heightened in those situations. I go, okay, I think we had some mismanaged expectations. What did you think we were supposed to be doing? And then here's what I thought we agreed to. This, and it's like having those conversations and not having it be like a big fight or anything, but like, okay, listen, we need to reset and we need to have these conversations. Because relationships, people, business, you're going to have stuff where things get lost in translation, where it's like, well, you said this and that's what I thought you meant, but it's like, oh, no, what I meant was, so there's just a lot of that. And I think at the base of all of it is that if we can give people grace, like give people the benefit of the doubt that they're trying to do their best, that no one's perfect, that and it just builds stronger relationships and more loyalty in business relationships. I had one gal not long ago, it was like she was like picking on something that I've never said is my strong suit, and I'm like, I never said that was like something that I'm good at. Like, what are you talking about? And she was trying to kind of like make a dig at me, and I was like, and kind of like that I should be doing my business a certain way. And I was like, I didn't start my own business to work for myself so that I would do things I don't want to like do. Like, we have everything covered on our team, but it's like, just because I don't do that, like, doesn't mean that I'm not great at what I do, but it was like, she wanted to put her stuff on me that she thought that I should be doing this. And I was like, I don't do that. And Ryan this is where he's so strong and so great, because I can be I want people to think I'm good and be happy with me. And we've had the best client experiences, but every once in a while we got like a curveball, right? And he's like, it's your business. You can say whatever the hell you want. And he reminds me of that I don't have like HR that's like,
You are
like,
HR. I
know, I'm like, shit, we don't have an HR department. So it's really incredible to have him remind me of that. Like, you can say whatever you want to say. Like, I'll always have to deal with the consequences of it. But he's like, you can be who you are authentically. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. That's okay.
I love that you went there. I really love that you went there.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I have a question for you. What mistakes do you often see entrepreneurs make when they're trying to grow, and what would you have them focus on instead?
Oh, the mistakes. I think people overcomplicate growing a business, because if you think about, like, at the most basic level, what does a business need? It needs a customer. That's it. You need a customer. You need somebody to pay you. And then you need to do a great job delivering whatever they paid you for. And then they'll go tell people, and you'll have like a client, which will give you more confidence. And that is how you build a business. People think, oh, I need somebody to do this and that and this and that. And you know what? I do believe in reinvesting in your business when you're at that point. But if you're not making a lot of money, you need to go freaking find the money. Like, at the very minimum, because if you have bills that you're paying and you're paying other people to help you build a business, but you're not actually building the business, now this becomes very stressful. You resent the people you're paying because you're financially stressed out. And that's what I think, that you have to become good at sales, which is really the skill, is you got to become a good salesperson of yourself. Sometimes it's easier to sell something else than to sell ourselves, because it comes back to that confidence piece. But if you can even find for a moment that like passion and it's the conviction is very important when you're selling something to somebody. And as you do it more and more, you'll become more confident and it'll get easier. But I think that people don't put enough focus on that. Is that like, you got to go sell. Yeah. And people are like, but I had a really great post. It's like, okay.
But likes don't sell.
No, they could, with other action, but it's like, you got to move the needle every day. You got to like be talking to people about what you do every single day. You got to be asking for referrals every day. You got to be doing uncomfortable follow-up every day. Like, that's the stuff. And like, people are like, oh, but I'm like, like, and I coach social media. I believe in social media, but it's like, if you're spending 3 hours making a reel, but you're not talking to potential customers, you're not going to build a business. Not very fast anyways. So.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. So switching gears a little bit.
Okay.
How do you personally stay grounded in your values while running a fast-paced business?
I think that, gosh, I'm like, how do I? I think that it goes back to like that authenticity, and also paying attention to your energy and like those gut instincts that you get, because I've closed deals with people that like I knew I maybe shouldn't have done business with, like that it wasn't probably going to go well, like I've done that. So we have to learn from our mistakes, but it's hard, like when you're building to not, like you're going to do that stuff in the beginning. And so I think that it's wanting to grow to a point where you're like, I get to choose that I work with, the people that I want to work with, and the people that appreciate me and value me, and are fun to work with. I don't want to see a client's name pop up in my email and get anxiety. Like I've done too much of that, and oh my gosh, my battery's like 11%. Like great. But, yeah, I think that paying attention to those gut instincts and not leaning into scarcity if you're just trying to close a deal for money, I think that's one of the biggest pieces.
Beautiful. What practices or rituals would you say help you embody alignment as a leader, a mom, and a woman?
Yeah, what rituals or practices? It's very important for me, for my mental health, to be active every day. So I work out or walk or do something like that every day. It's good for me to be creative outside of work. So like I enjoy my house. I like to decorate for the seasons. I like to do those things. And I've also lately given myself permission to read novels again, instead of just like personal development books. So I've been reading for enjoyment. And when I have free time and I'm like, is my work done? Did I move the needle today? Did I do what I needed to do? And the answer is yes. It's like, okay, like girl, do something for yourself. Do something you want to enjoy,
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you look back, what's been your biggest rise? Not just in business, but who you are as a person.
Okay. I'm so sorry if this is going to completely mess this up, but I have to get plugged into power.
You're fine.
I'm like, oh my gosh, sorry, Anita. I'm like the worst podcast guest ever. I'm like, do you edit these? You know what? I don't even care. It's real life. It's real life. I'm like,
unfortunately, this is just, we're going with it.
You know what?
Because it makes it authentic.
This is the real deal. I'm like, I just need it. Like my cord is literally not long enough. So it's fine. But I'm really glad, because that was starting to stress me out. Okay. Can you re-ask me the question one more time?
Absolutely. So I said, when you look back, what's been your biggest rise? Not just as a business owner, but in who you are as a person.
Been my biggest rise. By rise, do you mean like
up level?
Up level. Okay. You know what's crazy? This probably sounds like a stupid answer, but
no stupid answers ever.
You know what? It's funny. I actually think making sure that you're taking care of your body. I really like that, because okay, like personal story. I have been heavy and I have been thin and I've been in between, and I've gone through phases. It's like I've had 2 kids. I've whatever. There's been like a lot of different like health things and body things that I've endured throughout the years. And so I think also as I age, I'm almost 40. I'll be 40 in like a year and a half. I think,
and you look great for your age.
Oh, thank you. Working out and Botox.
There you have it, guys.
Yeah, there you have it. There's the secret. Have sex, get Botox, and work out. But yeah, I think that like always taking care of your body, because that's where everything starts, right? Like your energy, all of that. Like it all comes back to just like, how much are you sleeping? How much are you hydrating? Are you eating healthy? So that has always been tied to my success levels, actually, is like having a healthy body, because I've also been at the places where like I didn't feel very healthy. and my energy was low. I maybe got more headaches. Like I didn't feel good about myself. So I didn't want to be on camera. I didn't want to take pictures. I didn't want to like do those things. Which I would tell anybody, like, don't let that stuff hold you back. Like just be authentic with where you are. But I just know from like a creative perspective, like that is something that has definitely affected my life at different points, you know, and just my energy and how I feel about myself, because I think how we feel about ourselves really does impact everything. So being physically healthy has been a game changer in a lot of ways. And I think that people, when they see people who are healthy, because it is so rare in our world, they pay attention to you differently. You know, they're like, they must like be in order in some way. Like when you see someone who's, you know, really fit, it's like you just know that that person has to have a level of discipline, because you can't fake that. Like you cannot fake that. You can't borrow that. And so I think that it's actually like a snap judgment that people will make, you know, like taking you more seriously, you know, which sounds kind of superficial, but I think it's the world that we live in.
I love that you went there and that you were actually so honest, because I have been on a much heavier spectrum and I've been somewhere in between, and I find that especially as life gets hectic, that's when it's more important to be on that, like, I don't want to call it a grind, but on that grind of like, I'm going to make sure I'm still eating right. I'm still going to take myself out physically and whatnot, because it can take a bad season and make it worse if you're not conscious.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that when we're busy, we can go to convenience a lot of times, which is like fast food or not eating or whatever. And it really, truly does affect our mind, everything, our energy. And that is how we are showing up in the world. So, I mean, it's funny because I know it seems kind of like a simple, goofy answer. It's not like, you know, really inspiring. But I do think that it's really important to make sure that we're always taking care of ourselves first.
Beautiful. So if you could leave our listeners with one truth about building a brand and a business that honors both their ambition and their soul, what would it be?
I would say to really, like, it goes back to that authenticity. And I think that you're going to see this really being like the edge that certain businesses have is that authenticity and connection. So I would say do not try to be anybody but you. Sometimes we have to filter ourselves a little bit, right? Because, you know, even like where I live, it's like, you know, I'm friends with my kids' friends' parents and their coaches and things like that. So I probably need to filter myself a little bit, which I always think, well, maybe if I didn't, like, what would that be? You know, what would that be like? But it'd be wild. But
it would be you.
It would be me, totally. Yeah, I do. But, you know, I live in Texas. So, you know, people are like, oh, my God, what did she say? Ooh, should she just say that online? But, yeah, I think I'd say, like, really tap into, like, your authentic voice. Do not ever post from a place of caring what people think about you. Like, be okay with who you are and where you're at and like the journey that you're on. And I think that that is like the biggest thing, and people will relate to you. They will appreciate you. They will follow you, because we live in a very fake world. And so when people see something that's true and honest, they will follow it and cling to it. And it's just like a bug drawn to a light, you know, it's like, ooh, what's that? Like, I want to be near that. I like that. That feels good. So I just think always leading with authenticity.
I love that. And finally, before we get into our quick fire round.
Ooh, oh my gosh.
What legacy do you hope to leave, not just through business, but through the way you live?
Yeah. I think it's funny. Legacy is an interesting thing, and everybody probably has a different take on it. But I think probably the most important thing is like, yes, I want to make a lot of money. Yeah, I want to live a cool life. I would love to leave people like with, when they think about me, they think, you know, she taught me this, she helped me break through, or there was this mantra, this thing that she said that always like got me through. Like, you know, when you're thinking about the people out in the world that you affect. But the true legacy for me is raising two amazing humans that are going to be here on this earth, hopefully, like after I'm gone. and they will become parents and they will have children, and that they're doing good on this earth, and that they're authentic, and that they're working in their gifts and making the world a better place, and making an impact. Like, I think that truly, if my kids grew up and did something like truly with their gifts that God gave them, that would be enough for me.
That is so beautiful.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. You know how some parents are like, you should be a doctor because they make a lot of money. I'm like, what do you feel like inclined to do? Like, what do you love? Like, that's really important to me, that my kids, like, I don't push them into something that they don't want to do because they think they're supposed to,
Yeah, 100%. And as someone who is supposed to be a lawyer, we appreciate you.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of reading.
I mean, it is. Okay, so quick fire round.
Okay.
I was actually going to avoid asking you this first question because I know you kind of have a personal development book ick. But recent book you've read that's changed your life, and it does not have to be personal development.
Yeah. No, I love personal development books. I like to listen to them a lot of times because I think they're so boring to read. Oh, gosh. Probably my top 3 that I can think of off the top of my head instead of just one, because I don't want to commit to that. The first one I ever read was The Ideal Team Player by Patrick Lencioni. And that was a good one when you're looking for, like, the type of people, first, that you should be within an organization, and the type of people you want to look to partner with. You want to look for people who are humble, hungry, and smart. Also, Jim Defmer's 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership talks about the drama triangle and empowerment, and that boring to read, incredible to listen to and reference. And then a very tiny little book that helped me with discipline, and when I needed it, was Chop Wood, Carry Water.
And I'm gonna have to look up all of those.
You got to do the little things every day. You got to chop wood and carry water every day. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
A word that describes your current season. Please don't go fall.
No. Breakthrough. Yeah. Like, I think we're on the edge of breakthrough and expansion. And so I guess the word would actually be commitment. Staying committed.
Beautiful. Daily non-negotiable that fuels your power.
Coffee.
Same.
Oh, yeah, for real.
Same.
Magic.
Really same.
Yeah.
Song that instantly lifts your mood.
Ooh. It's funny. I listen to, like, a lot of, like, really inappropriate rap when I work out. I also like the song Gladiator. Not as much probably anymore, but as I used to replay it. But there's this line in this song is, they couldn't fix me, I accepted it. And then it's like, I became a gladiator. And that's cool because it's like, yeah, like the world says I should be like this, but like, that's not who I am, So it's kind of badass.
Love that. And very you, actually.
I know, right? Yeah.
A place in the world that makes you feel most alive?
Most alive. I really like I like the ocean. I like being out in nature. I think that it helps us connect to our creator. So, I like a beach, which sounds like it's funny because I don't really love sand and I don't really like to swim in the ocean. But I think just the power actually of the ocean, like being close to the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Best advice you've ever received in one sentence?
Oh my God, I don't even like people's advice. Like, I really don't. Like, I'm such a different person that if somebody tells me what to do, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Probably Ryan, when he says, when he's like, you can say whatever you want. It's like, you're right. Like, I can't. Yes. I don't know if that's the best advice I've ever gotten, but that's the thing that comes to mind. Gosh. Like, I don't know if I've ever had any, like, groundbreaking advice that somebody's given me.
Well, I guess that's it.
I guess that's it, yeah.
If you weren't doing this work, what would you be doing?
Oh, I'd probably be an interior designer.
Actually, I could see that. Vibes.
Yeah, I've done it for people on the side a little bit, but yeah, like that's probably what I'd be doing. Or like a personal shopper, or like a stylist, or like something visual and pretty like that.
Yeah. Definitely could see that with the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like, just the vibe, your essence. There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
One thing you want women to stop apologizing for.
Being like saying what you mean. You know, it's like if somebody can't handle it, they can fuck off. Like, you know, it's like that's not your problem. Yeah, it's like just freaking like quit being small to make others feel comfortable.
Beautiful way to end this podcast. So, if this conversation spoke to you, I invite you to take a moment to reflect. Where on your own journey can you bring more of this balance between ambition and enlightenment? And as always, thank you for tuning into the Rise with Anita podcast. Until next time, keep rising, keep leading with heart, and keep believing in the version of you who is already becoming. If you enjoyed this episode, please go ahead and share it on Instagram and let us know your thoughts. And until the next one, bye.